of this.
Valentine taking Atley to the goal screen.
Goldstein just looking across the circles, wondering what the heck can I do. That's not definitive, that tap, although Sandlin's got his hand to it. It's going to be a free kick to the Kangaroos. Swallow has done a terrific job.
13 tackles, Dennis.
Inside and out. He's a wonderful player, Swallow. Kicks inside the forward 50. McPhee did well, knocked it down. Harvey the crumb. Bacon goal square, bounces and goes through. The kick start they needed from the veteran champ.
He's had a cameo day, Harvey.
Yeah.
I mean, I reckon most of his kicks, Tim, have come in bursts today. I reckon he's had good 5-minute periods.
Yeah, and Crowley's done a really good job on him. He's played defensive side of him, so he's disallowed him the opportunity to actually run hard at the goal. So he's had to work really, really hard to find his possessions this afternoon.
He's taken the second play out of his game today too. Harvey likes to give and get, doesn't he?
Yep, he hasn't been able to run and carry and break the play up, but that was such a great opportunist goal, that. They just couldn't kill the ball hard enough there, the Fremantle defence, and I mean, that's just classic front of pack roving.
Well, it's just what the game needed and what North needed. They're back within striking distance, you feel. We know they can score. Now, 2 free kicks in the centre to Swallow at the start of this quarter could be telling. Wright's high ball forward. They're coming from everywhere. And Thomas is doing the Harvey. And Thomas goes bang. Deja vu.
Worth a look at that replay, Tim. I'm sure you picked it up. McPhee tried to run at him and missed him. He was that anxious to sort of block him that he missed him. And Bob's your uncle.
What are the chances of Brad Scott saying at 3/4 time, OK, boys, what we need to do is we need to put this defence under a bit more pressure. You get a chance with the ball in the midfield. Let's just go long to our tall targets. Our tall targets, what we want from you is we want a contest. Bring the ball to ground if you possibly can. Halve the contest. And Thomas, Campbell and Harvey get at their feet.
I reckon Ross just sat down in the coach's box, turned around and, did I miss something? How quick is that? And suddenly it's back to 9. And now McPhee and Thomas going at it. Peacemaker is Hansen. Johnson just tagging along for the ride. Back in the middle, Sandilands down on his knees trying to get it out, opposed to a smaller player in Cunnington.
Really seeing the importance of the centre bounce clearances, and Andrew Swallow is the king of it.
What's the 2 free kicks they received too?
Adam's been okay. He's played hard, but the time to have made contact was moments ago in front of that pack. Out of the middle, the high ball comes down towards half forward. Pearce was the man who kicked it. The mark is taken by Thompson. Thompson looks across the ground, slips a hand pass to Wright. Wright to Swallow, who started brilliantly in this final term. He's been good all day. But he has that ability, Swallow, an innate sense of sensing the moment. He's one of the few players in this competition who, when he feels the game is on the line, can find more than most. He's a Selwood type in that regard.
It's a good description, and he's doing it right now again, isn't he? So North have had a fantastic start to this quarter. So against Hansen, Johnson's just had a great day, I reckon. He really has got hold of the defence. In fact, they've held up so well, and yet those 2 goals in 45 seconds changed. Oh! Forget what I was saying. Think about Clark. Oh. Thanks, guys.
There's the X Factor there, Bruce.
Oh, is it ever that? I like the X Factor. That is some mark.
That is a good old-fashioned pack contested mark, isn't it?
Nick Natanui would be proud of that, wouldn't he?
Got a wonderful ride there too. Was that Thompson in front of him? Yeah.
Well, can he finish here for the play of the day? Well, no, he cannot. Wow, that's a big miss. It was such a magnificent leap. Yeah, I think Ross got up there and said, is that the score? I thought we were 3.5 goals in front.
In the blink of an eye, wasn't it? McMahon. That's a daring kick too, straight up the middle. In front, Johnson couldn't take it. Out of the congestion, Pearce in front, Subban. And that could well be 50. No.
Relax. Take him out, Hayden, please.
I think you're asking the wrong bloke.
Straight in front.
It's a good strong mark, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know somebody's coming.
That was line ball, wasn't it?
With a 50-metre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wright knew he was doing the wrong thing, pardon that expression, but he just pushed him, almost an involuntary action, just out of habit. Subban, yeah, he's a good kick, Subban. Is he accurate enough? No, I don't think he is. That one veers to the right. It's a long kick. Don't know much about his kicking a goal because generally he's played in defence this season. Here's Ferrito, the ever-reliable Ferrito in the back pocket.
Yeah, he hasn't kicked a goal this year, Subban, because he's been down in the back half a lot. Hasn't played a lot of matches. Now, I wonder if this is going to bite them here. They've had 2 pretty easy shots. North have kicked 2 snappy goals in this term. Mundy coughs it up. Cunnington to Bastanak. Swallow leading from the front. Harvey, clever. Bastanak off a step. Good-looking kick off the boot. Free kick, no, not paid. Bit stiff. Tarrant, well played. Sandilands. Barlow, that was a clever handball. Sandilands, well played. Hill, running and carrying. Lovely kick, Hill. Now Clark.
Yeah.
Well, that was good play by Thompson. He just took all the spring out of Clark. Set it up for McMahon, his mate. McMahon into the centre. If North want a high tempo last quarter, don't they? They want the ball to move quickly from one end to the other. And Atley's the right bloke to do just that.
Well, they set the tempo in the opening minute with 2 goals. Ferrito forward. This is Campbell. He's a live wire. Goes to Garlett, the lookalikes over the top. They've got the man on. Cunnington looks inside the forward 50, then intended for Hansen. Wonderful defensive mark by Spur.
That was just a fantastic bit of play there. I mean, he had to cut that off. It's a really dangerous part of the ground to be placing yourself, and he did it. Went without even thinking of his own personal safety there.
That's right.
They're starting to look dangerous, so North Melbourne with that run-off half-back. That's when they're at their absolute best, when they just zing the ball around and then they find that free player eventually.
Well, who was the one bloke Ross Lyon talked about? Atley. He wants him as deep as he can get, doesn't he?
Yep.
Spurs got the ball again. He missed nothing. He's in the back pocket, just working it around, trying to take some of the sting out of it. McFarlane has been very good again today. Just jabs it along the boundary. Johnson. Kicks to space and Crowley does well, just reaching out, getting the fingertips to it and taking it.
Sorry, Dennis, this is the contrasting styles now, isn't it? The way these two sides are going to be playing this last quarter of footy.
Enthralling. Hands in the back. The ball will get the free.
Slow and methodical Freo. And when North Melbourne get the opportunity, they'll be manic.
De Boer, beautiful pass, and Main has presented well all day long. He's worked very hard on the forward line, trying to pick up the slack. Matthew Pavlich declared unfit, close to game time. That's a beautiful kick.
This would be right on the edge of his distance, though, too, wouldn't it, Dennis?
I like him from here.
Okay.
Famous last words. I said that in the first term, so I'm sticking with it, Tim. I'm getting back on the horse.
I'm thinking about distance, though. He's going to probably have to kick this about 53, 54.
Slip of the tongue, getting back on the horse. Here's Main, 50 metres out, deliberately in, goes very close to the man on the mark, and I think that affected him a bit, but then again I think he needed to go close to get the distance. The ball is out of bounds, so that, no, to go out on the full.
I reckon he needs to examine his run-up, Main. A couple of times where he's only taken...
Anything from your end? I thought it might have been touched and then hit the post. Review it.
Here we go, Bruce.
We haven't had one of these today.
Something we look forward to. So the central umpire thinks that it hit a hand and then the post. Well, I think the central umpire is right on. In fact, it may not have hit the post.
It was touched before the line, Scotty's the throw in.
I've never seen them review anything other than a score before.
Oh, well, thin into the wedge, Tim. Once it starts, where will it stop?
So Clark doing the ruck work with Petrie. So bottom line for Freo, they've had 3 set shots in this last quarter and haven't done the deal, have they?
And the big pressure's on here too from Fremantle. All their players have pushed up the ground. North Melbourne's overloaded the back half.
Brad Scott there, animated in the coach's box. Petrie laid it down. Swallow, front and centre, but Mundy gets hold of him. And again, the ball up.
Of course, I think Brad was making the point that's not within the jurisdiction of what they were doing with instant replay there. Well, might be a valid point.
Josh whispered in the quick kick by Clark, whispered in the ear. They don't normally review unless it is a score. So it was pretty interesting stuff. Garland, Zeeble, does he get it out? Mzungu, that's a dangerous kick, isn't it? Seen it a lot today.
And that was just about pressure, though. The actual pressure on the ball carrier then, or the ball. This is
Ball receiver there.
Jack just trying to get the ball out any way he possibly can.
Well, we've seen 3 shots at goal in the last quarter. One of the main was a long way out. The other 2 were pretty easy shots. Now, Zungu's in the Subin area, isn't he? He's maybe a bit closer than Subin. If he kicks this, they're going to be very, very, very hard to catch. Like it off the boot, he's got it. They pinch a little break again.
Gosh, they've been marvellous. Fremantle today.
They're a good side, Dennis, aren't they?
Well, they are today, that's for sure.
Dude, I reckon West Coast would be thinking, God, if we have to play a home final, why do we have to play the Dockers? That's not what a home final's about, is it?
It's looking that way, isn't it? That's saying West Coast can't beat Hawthorn next week, isn't it? But
yeah. Well,
even
they
so,
can.
you would think in Melbourne that's going to be a hard task. West Coast, very good last night.
They were live and interactive. Who's going to go further in September? North or Freo, Tim?
Well, that's a good question. It depends on who they play in that first round. I mean, North Melbourne might run into Geelong in the first week of the finals as well. It's taken a massive effort from where they come from, North Melbourne, to get this far.
Sandilands knocked it down. Mazungu under real pressure. Terrific from McMillan outside of the boot stuff, though, sending it forward down towards half forward from Hill. And the mark is taken by Walters.
That's the 13th mark inside forward 50 for Fremantle compared to the Kangaroos 5. You'd think with Pavlich being out, that wouldn't have been the case.
And that was just a marvellous kick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A little caress from Hill.
That's right, and to space. I mean, it was only a Fremantle player that was going to be able to mark that ball where it was positioned. They're great Fremantle. I mean, on average, they only have 8 marks taken against them inside their defensive 50, and they've kept North Melbourne to 5 today. Coming into this game, that was going to be one of their trump cards.
So Walters, a man who got his career back on the rails from 40 metres out, has Fremantle steaming towards the finals. He's got 4.
And if you think about this game, if I said to you right now, Tim, who are the best players on the ground? I reckon if you pick 10, you'd pick 8 Fremantle players.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. That is a good point. And you think at the beginning of this quarter, they kicked those 2 goals. Since then, it's been 5-1 inside 50. So they've got that great capacity to steel themselves and then be able to wrestle back the momentum of the games. We've seen a number of occasions this afternoon where we thought North Melbourne are just going to be able to take control of this game, but they've just pulled it back.
So here's the live ladder. Now, Dockers have closed that percentage gap on the Kangaroos as well. So that's the situation at the moment. Geelong go above the Kangaroos today if the scores stay as they are. Career high for Walters, and this, believe it or not, is the biggest margin of the match after the heroics by North at the start of this quarter. Sandilands, and the quick kick by Ibbotson. Out wide, bouncing ball right. Well done. Getting it back was Subin. Lovely handball to Hill. Well played. De Boer's a good kick. They're home. They're a good side, this one. They're hard to beat. Gee, I like them.
Gee, they've given Hill some licence today, Tim.
Too much.
He's taken it.
Too much.
Have they got a player to run with him? You wonder, don't they? I'm not sure they do. Maybe young Bastenak would have been the best. He did a bit of stopping early in his career. He's become more a free running player in recent times.
Could Harper go with him? Because Harper's hardly touched it today. I mean, he's got the leg speed to go with him. I'm not sure if he's got the mentality to go with him.
A bit late to be training somebody to play that role this late
fair
in the
enough.
year.
Yeah.
What a beautiful handball by Subin too. I mean, and then Hill.
Yep.
Well, he set up the last 2 goals, Hill. I mean,
He's a BOG, I think, don't you?
let him run at his peril. So he made the right decision as well. It seems that way. Crashing into the pack is Mundy, going nowhere. And the umpire allows De Boer to steal it to Ibbotson. Down towards half forward. One-way traffic at the moment. Coming up to meet it is Main. Trying to offer a shepherd out there, Subin. He hasn't got the football, Subin. He'll get a free kick.
50 metres.
Oh, wow.
50 metres for the knee.
North Melbourne finished their home and away season against GWS.
I'll tell you what's getting interesting, Dennis, the percentage.
Lord, Reece, I think you're an optimist.
The gap's closing between these 2 teams, which means next week with a shootout between Melbourne and GWS, their spot on the ladder could change.
Here's Subin. Sharp angle, but wouldn't mind his chances from here because the angle will open up with a left footer. He pops it through. Well done. This is a real powerful finish. Headed for the line, headed for the finals like a good football team.
Could have been a lot more powerful too when you think about the three that they actually did miss before they started kicking them again in this last quarter. But Ross Lyon talked about the domination or the lack of domination in part of this game with the midfield, but it really has been their midfield in this last quarter that's got way on top of the Kangaroos after those first 2 free kicks out of the centre square.
So here's the live ladder. Can you believe it? Since Pavlich's debut, they've only won once away from Perth without him playing, and that was against Port Adelaide round 17, 2008. This has been a fantastic performance by the Dockers. You feel like that year they made the prelim final was at 06. You feel like they're sort of running into that sort of form when they won a string of games. I think Adelaide messed them up in the first week of the finals that year. Ballantyne, Short, DeMundy.
How good was Mundy then? That first kick to Ballantyne was just outstanding, and then the follow-up. And
again, Tim, I said to you, I reckon if you ask who are the best 10 players on the ground today, at least 8 of them would be Dockers, wouldn't they?
He hasn't had his best season, Mundy. I mean, probably I think it was 2 years ago, he might have been close to one of the more elite midfielders in the competition, but he's just been slow getting his game going.
He had no pre-season, Tim. He had a really bad pre-season. He started as a sub early in the year. So he's actually built, hasn't he?
He's needed the miles in his legs.
Well, if he kicks this, that live ladder is going to be fascinating in terms of where these two teams sit. In terms of percentage, it's coming back. It's a goal. Well, they're doing a job on them now, aren't they?
They are. I've got an interesting point to raise with you, Tim. At least I think it's interesting. We might just leave it for a moment. But
can I just give you a stat?
Yes.
I'll give you a stat. In the last 6 minutes, Freo have kicked 5 goals, and North Melbourne haven't had a kick.
Is that right? Wow. Well, Bruce came up with a stunner too about winning without Pavlich. So not in Melbourne.
Not away from Perth.
Yes.
So they've only won 1 game away from Perth since Pavlich's debut when he wasn't playing.
Yeah, not in Melbourne. That was in Adelaide, that one.
Yeah, that was in Adelaide, exactly.
Well, if I'm coaching Fremantle now, Timmy, I am calling the Dogs off. Get Sandilands off the ground. If they win by too much and go up the ladder, it means they won't play at Patterson Stadium. I'm serious. I'm serious.
Dennis Sandilands is up to 47 hitouts compared to Goldstein's 7.
Monday.
Well, it's a good call. He may not benefit by playing this game right out.
Because there's no chance they'll catch, you wouldn't think, Geelong or whoever may fall back into 5th place. Here's Ballantyne again. He's kicked another one.
Junk time now.
This is pathetic by North.
What a remarkable afternoon we're seeing here. I mean, you feel like they've broken. You feel like they've broken North's spirit a bit here, don't you? I mean, that's a silly thing to say because North have bounced back. I know that, but North have capitulated here.
Yep. They're looking really tired now, North Melbourne, aren't they?
6 goals in 14 kicks. I mean, Hill's been so important. So many contributors, though, Tim.
Yeah, but we talked about the fact that, you asked the question early today, where are the goals going to come from if Pavlich wasn't playing? And, it was just that everybody else had to step up and kick their goals. And, I mean, Ballantyne's been instrumental. And Walters, as you've already spoken about.
Have a look at this. So they go above North on the ladder. Now, they've got Melbourne next week at Patterson Stadium. North have got GWS at Skoda. So both teams potentially will have good wins. But Freo could actually dodge West Coast in Perth. Now, as Dennis said, that mightn't be a dodge they want to do. I mean, who knows? But this has been a massive afternoon for them. And for North, well, they've lost a lot of ground here. Maybe they can salvage something from the wreck late, percentage-wise. Zeebel's kicked forward, belted away.
Not sure it's going to make Carlton feel any better today.
No.
After what they went through last night. But, I mean, they could have been sitting here today watching this, believing that North Melbourne were going to win this game for them as well and help their cause.
No, it's a good point. A little twist in the tail for a Blue supporter, eh? Not sure what it does for Brett Ratton. Nothing, obviously, but anyway. Subin in heavy traffic. Anthony was touched off the boot. Main getting on to it. They've unravelled North. Ballantyne's kicked a couple of goals. He gets down low. He squeezes it out. Did he throw it? Or he gets a high free kick.
Oh, no.
That's 50.
Well, defences.
Well, it's just unravelled, hasn't it? It's been just so messy for North.
I'm trying to work out an ulterior motive for North, and I can't find one, Tim.
You know, you might just put it down to the end of a really, really tough campaign. I mean, they were fantastic last week against Collingwood, but they just haven't been prepared to go as hard and as long and as aggressive and as tough as what they've needed to.
And Dockers just don't kick 18 goals. That's not their style.
No.
But they have today. And Ballantyne's kicked 3. This is a glorious day for the purple. Who starts favourite, West Coast or Freo, if they played one another at Patterson? You know, actually, it might get down to the ruck. Sandilands versus Naitanui and Cox.
I think that's why they generally do pretty well, the Dockers, in recent times, because West Coast's 2 stars find him pretty tough to combat.
I hope we get that game. It would be the biggest thing in Western Australia, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, on what we're seeing at the moment, we may not.
I mean, as good as that guy has been again this afternoon, Naitanui was just extraordinary last night against Collingwood. And you talk about their midfield power. He's as good as any midfielder going around because of what he does around the ball.
I wonder if they play Clark, Dennis, against Naitanui as well, because he's got the freakishness about him, Clark, as well, hasn't he, as the next man?
He's got a good leap, yep. In defence, it's Thompson. And what a beleaguered defence it is. He goes across the ground, intended for Anthony, stays on his feet, does well. A rarity. North go forward. Swallow on the outer side. Loops a hand pass over the top. Taken by Gibson. Goes down towards the 50. Reaching from the back, McFarlane. No chance at the mark. Taken in front by Garlett. Just jabs it towards goal. The mark is taken by Hansen. Now Hansen will go back and line up at his 3rd goal, but he's really touched the football this afternoon, coming up for his 8th disposal, his 6th kick.
Drew Putri's only had 6 touches for the afternoon, 3 marks, so they have done a number on him. And Hansen and Tarrant, who's had a little bit more of the ball but hasn't had a gigantic influence on this game.
Right behind Hansen then. Runs inside the 50. Kick is on the way. Looks pretty good. He puts it through. Not a bad return, really. Limited opportunities. 3 goals for Lockie Hansen.
No, you're spot on. It's a hard game to assess. You say Hansen, you look at the paper tomorrow, 3 goals. Oh, well, he did his job, but I guess he has in the end. The trouble is that Tarrant hasn't kicked a couple and Petrie hasn't kicked a couple.
The trouble is they haven't had the flow in their play today, so the spaces that they've had in previous weeks when they've played have dried up today because of the way Fremantle have played them defensively. So it's been much harder for them to find the ball and find a one-on-one contest as well.
You made a great point, though. It's very hard to keep winning in this competition, to keep winning and winning and winning.
So what does he do after this game? Does he belt them, or does he just back off thinking, OK, they've been really good in the last couple of months?
A bit of kind love, I think. Well, I don't know. I'm not a coach, but they've won 9 out of 10 and 6 straight.
You say it's an anomaly, this quarter of footy?
Well, you'd think so. Subin to Barlow to full forward. McMahon brave, couldn't quite. Zeeble. Guess you do your homework, Tim, and work out what didn't happen that should have happened. Gibson goes back. Atley. Grimer and Wells are the 2 that are going to come back into the team. There's a sloppy handball. Wright.
Another one.
Harper. Little contribution from Harper today. I know he's that sort of play. Just needs a little bit more of the ball.
Oh.
Gibson gone. That's holding it. Well, surely he had.
Yeah, prior opportunity. You're right.
It took a long time to make up his mind about that.
And Gibson, another great player this year in his first season, but he's had a very ordinary day. So a lot of the, I say, around the fringes type players, they haven't really. I mean, Swallow's been terrific, and a couple of the other gun players have been down, but they haven't got a lot.
Here's Pearce, who started the game and set the tone in many respects with 13 possessions in the opening term. And there's going to be a free kick to McMillan, being held by Fife. Just not in the game mentally, a lot of these North players. Moments ago, we saw Subin running across half forward. Atley, who's got the ball now, that takes a bit of organising. As though he was unaware the man was a left footer. There's Subin. Quite proud of himself. He goes short. Clark hand passes to Subin, who is a left footer. Look at that. He may have kicked another goal. He has.
Well, blokes that haven't kicked a goal all year, like McPhee and Subin, who've been playing admittedly in the back half,
He's been good. I was just thinking about Atley, though, who provides so much run and carry. Here he is. Just sometimes his poise and composure with the ball is just not quite there. I mean, he's only a young player still, so this is his second year of AFL football, but he just duffed that on the way through then. And that ball just out of reach.
Limbering up for next week, Pav. He's probably thinking now, if I played today, I might have kicked 6 and won the Coleman, eh?
Well, still might get a few next week.
Yeah.
To be in the front of the plane with you tonight, Dennis, going home?
Hope so. Always good company, the Pav.
So it's their second biggest score of the year, the Dockers. They kicked 132 points against GWS, who play against North next week. So 126. They've got time to improve on that. Duffield going forward.
There's been nothing unattractive about this performance, has there?
No.
Out of the box.
So Barlow to Pearce. Pearce off for step. And then just sets it up to fall forward. Where's Clark? He's there, belted it away. Anthony back to Cunnington. Good handball by Cunnington. Gibson. Petrie's had a day to forget. Campbell, no impact since he's come on. Gibson running. Campbell running and carrying. And then chipping the ball forward. Now, this will be interesting. Thomas, you'd think's a good chance here. Can the cavalry come back to help? Now Thomas on the left.
Well, he's kicked it straight to McFarlane.
McFarlane actually read that better.
Actually, it's Johnson.
It was Johnson, yeah. Johnson actually was watching the play unfold, Dennis, and he just read where that ball was going before it was Hansen.
Yeah, we were both right, too. I think McFarlane sang out yours, Jono. I saw it very early. There he is again.
Fremantle's two-way running, forward and back, has been exceptional today.
I reckon that would be the first non-negotiable with Ross Lyon when you play for him, Kirky.
True.
Driven around the outer side. Off hands, falls in front. Garlett, McMillan ran into a dead end, but a clever hand pass releases. Swallow kicks inside the forward 50. Where they're totally outnumbered. McFarlane gets back, controls the ball nicely to the opposite pocket. Ross Lyon's got a sense of humour at the after-match press conference. I suppose he should say Pav's got to earn his spot next week.
Tell you what, McFarlane might have played his way into the All-Australian team today, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon he's had a season that deserves that sort of recognition. And North, give them their due. I mean, what they've achieved has been fantastic, but this is souring it a little bit. What did they say? 9 out of 10. They've won their last 6. They were in ruins after that Launceston match. I was on the plane with them coming back. It seemed like there was no way back. Their CEO left the club on the Monday, I think, Tim. So it just went from bad to worse, and you thought no hope. And that really got some resolve at the club. So can't count them out.
The draw's good for them, though, next week, isn't it? I mean, they get a chance to play one of the weaker sides. So it's not as if they're going to get belted up again next week before they go into the finals.
Well, I saw them play yesterday, GWS, and they've got a revolving door policy at best. It's quite remarkable, just wanting to see what the players can do. And if they continue with that, they were 8 points down at half-time yesterday.
Yeah.
And probably deserve to be further. There's Duffield.
And the good thing for the Dockers, they've got a home game next week, so they can gather themselves as well before the finals.
Yeah.
And they'll start heavy favourites against Melbourne, who'll be more competitive, obviously, than GWS, you'd think.
Well, not sure, but yeah, you would think so. Up in front, although after last night, as we said, nothing to be taken for granted. That was one of the more amazing results in a footy match last night. The star-studded Blues, 50 metres. I kept waiting, didn't you, Tim, watching that game for Carlton just to come over the top.
They had their chances in the last quarter. They just couldn't kick accurately enough, and they were playing all over the Suns. And I heard Guy McKenna talking about it today, actually. They've still got 13 or 14 of players that they would normally have in their side out at the moment. So, I mean, there's a little bit to get excited about with the Suns in the latter stage of this season.
But Campbell Brown, too, he was like a bowling ball last night, a cannonball, just throwing himself about. Related goal to Gibson.
You touched on it, Dennis. Could you imagine Gibson's kick too? Could you imagine the uproar from the Blues supporters today about this result? Had they won last night, they would have been with Freo doing the job here.
Yeah.
Well, I know one Carlton fan very well, and you know him too, Macca, and he was prepared to buy North Melbourne memberships if they were able to do the job on Fremantle.
Tomorrow morning?
That's Andy Marr, yeah. And he was trying to get as many Carlton fans on board as he possibly could.
So this live ladder, have a look how close it is in the percentage stakes here. Freo 0.1 in front of the Kangaroos right now. So it means if it stayed like that, Geelong would play Freo. We've got another round to go. We know all of that. But suddenly next weekend, the mathematicians are going to have a ball, aren't they?
Josh will love it.
Well, he's salivating as we speak, working it all through. Mzungu's going to maybe separate them a bit more. Ballantyne going forward. Couldn't quite. It's been fantastic, Ballantyne. On the left, gives it all he's got, does Hayden. Oh, what a good player. He's kicked 4, 3 in the last quarter, and he's ruined Josh's mathematics again.
But why, Tim? I hate to say like, no, I don't. I've got to be careful how I word this because we're all competitors at this table, of course. But I wonder why, if you were Fremantle, you would rather take on somebody like Geelong in Melbourne necessarily. You know what I'm saying? Well, depending on how it breaks.
But you can't put that in the minds of the players. As soon as you start talking like that, I mean, they don't go out and actually perform today like they have against North Melbourne. They're just playing to win. I mean, they're playing from contest to contest. They're not looking at the scoreboard now thinking, OK, where are we going to finish? Who are we going to play in the first week of the finals? This
is their highest scoring quarter away from Perth ever, Dennis. Dockers.
Amazing.
That might be the best game Ballantyne's played in a long time too.
Who's been I mean, Walters and Ballantyne, they've got 8 goals between them.
They don't need Pavlich, do they?
Well, they certainly do, but we know all that. But, God, they're in a beautiful position right now, aren't they? I've had the feeling all year that the teams outside the top 4 can be dangerous in the finals because, you know, you're thinking Geelong.
Yeah.
But if West Coast don't beat Hawthorn, and with West Coast, Geelong, Freo, and maybe North still out of the top 8, I still feel like they're dangerous, considering that Sydney and Adelaide are in the top 4. And Collingwood aren't going that well, are they?
Well, no.
I mean, the only team in the top 4 right now that probably are playing up to their best are Hawthorn, correct?
Yeah, I just think with North Melbourne and Geelong's case, they've had to play really hard football in the second half of the season to actually get to where they're at. Now they've got to, at the end of all that, they've got to play the best sides over the last month.
I think harder for North it'll be than Geelong, don't you? Because Geelong have been there and done it so often in the last few years.
Well, they've got the experienced players, yeah.
Anyway, I still think teams outside the top 4 can make a run this year.
We're about to find out. We're down to 48 seconds. Mzungu's got the football. This has been a remarkable last quarter, a remarkable afternoon. Mzungu hugs the boundary line on this remarkable afternoon, coming after a remarkable night on the Gold Coast last night.
Dennis, an interesting season's got even more interesting this in round 22, hasn't it?
I'll say. He's scratching his head right now, just wondering what the heck lies ahead. After the boundary throw in, Barlow. Full credit to Ross Lyon. They're playing his style of football. Actually, Matthew Pavlich really won my respect. Not that he didn't have it before, but early in the season he said that Mark Harvey will always be a lifelong friend. It showed a guy who was captain of a football club and very confident in his own skin to say that. And I'm sure he and Lyon are close now, but you never hear footballers say that, Tim. It's always the king is dead, long live the king, when coaches change. I thought that was just, in many respects, the strongest thing I've seen ever to come out of Fremantle.
Yeah, it's good. Western Australia's had a good weekend, haven't they?
Yeah. What else did we do apart from the footy? Anything?
Oh, I'm not sure, but West Coast and Freo.
There's Barlow. Well, Freo are going to the finals, Bruce. That's what this proves. 4th
time only, in 18 seasons. So the Dockers are there. They're into the finals. We know the 8 contestants, and they were magnificent today. They did it without Pav away from home. Let's go down to you, Brett. You got one of the stars. I had plenty. Here's Monday with Brett Kerr.
That's right, one of the stars. Big win, mate. Good personally, like you're getting back to your best since your ankle injury.
Yeah, well, it's been a long time, so I'd like to think I'm getting back to my best. But the team's playing really well at the moment, and leading into kind of next week in finals is really good.
And how important is the belief you take from this?
Yeah, massive. We've had 2 good wins here already this year, but coming over, a little bit of adversity with Cove going out late. It was good for the boys to really rally, and it was a real big football effort, so it's good.
And what do you see is the difference between the second half of the year, this transformation you guys have made?
Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint one thing, but our effort and the roles that everyone's playing is really great. We depend on Mzungu's, the Clancy Pearces, who don't get a heap of recognition. They're coming in, playing their role for the team and doing a great job week in, week out, so it's good.
Thanks, mate. Go into it.